In this video, I'm going to share 6 of the best viewpoints that give you stunning views of the city of Paris. I'll also add links in the description below to everything we look at in this video, and also provide useful information such as opening times, ticket prices for example. Paris is a very popular destination, it's busy all year round, but just so you're aware, we visited during April. The first viewpoint on my list needs no introduction, it's the Iron Lady, the Eiffel Tower. Lots of tourists here, and where you have lots of tourists, you have lots of pickpockets, so please just be aware of your surroundings and your personal belongings. Here you can see the line for the baggage check. This is just to get into the sort of base of the tower, and they have different lines for those that have tickets and those that don't have tickets. Don't be too alarmed if the line is quite long. There are quite a few members of staff checking the bags, so the line does move relatively quickly. I would say we were no more than 15 minutes to get through this part. Again, I will include a link to the website below, but this is the website for booking your tickets. In terms of booking tickets, if you want to book in advance, you can book tickets up to 60 days before your visit. So it's a relatively straightforward process. Just remember the 60-day thing if you're going to book in advance, and then it's just a case of deciding what type of visit you want. If you want to go to the second floor like we did, or if you want to go to the top for example. Here you can see I've selected a number of tickets, and now I'm going to select we want to go to the second floor. Then you select your arrival time. Bear in mind here I've tried to book tickets about 30 days in advance. So you can see even 30 days out, a lot of the slots are already fully booked. Lots of options in terms of tickets. You can take the elevator all the way from the ground to the summit. You can take the elevator from the ground to the second floor like we did. Or you can walk using the stairs from the ground to the second floor, then take the elevator to the summit. Or you can walk from the ground to the second floor and then take the elevator back down. So lots of different options, obviously different options, different prices. And here you can see some fit people starting that journey as they tackle some of the 674 steps. Which isn't too bad really when you think there's over 1600 steps in total. You can't walk, you can't take the stairs now from the second floor to the summit. However, just a piece of useful information, the world record for climbing from the ground to the top of the Eiffel Tower is just under 8 minutes, which I just find astonishing. Once you're through the baggage check, that's you. Either you're going to head to the tower to make your way up, or if you don't have prepaid tickets, then you're going to join a line and then buy your tickets and then make your way up. Hopefully this shows it's quite busy and some of the lines are quite big as well, so I would recommend buying your tickets if possible in advance. As I said, we visited in April, and here you can see the wait time of 1 hour and 30 minutes. Another thing we noticed, we didn't go to the summit, but you can see the sign here that it closed the top floor due to limited capacity, so just something to bear in mind. We then joined another line, which was only about 5-10 minutes to get to the actual on-board elevator itself. When you do reach the elevators, they're sort of double elevators, so there's a lower section and an upper section. And then it was time for us to make our way to the second floor. We didn't go to the summit, but we just thought the views from the second floor were really good. And yeah, it was a nicer day and it just gives some amazing views over the city. Apart from the amazing views, you'll also find some shops, there's toilets, there's somewhere you can grab some food. So there's a few options while you're up the tower as well. Here again you can see the stairs for those that are feeling fit. We then decided to take the elevator back down from the second floor to the first floor. In terms of accessibility, the Eiffel Tower is fully accessible to the second floor only, you can't go to the top. And for the previous one, the Montparnasse observation deck, you can fully accessible to the 56th floor, you just can't go to the rooftop terrace. One thing you'll notice that's different from the second floor and first floor is the second floor you just have the sort of chest height, sort of waist height rail, whereas here you can see you do have this sort of the mesh sort of barrier that continues right up over your head. It's not a major issue. You can obviously just, as I've done here, just push your phone through the gaps there as long as you've got it in a lanyard or held it securely, and you still get some stunning views. Along the first floor you'll also find some of these information points. It just gives you some of the history of the tower, which is quite interesting. And that was our visit to the Eiffel Tower, and we didn't have to go that far for the next viewpoint. And that next viewpoint is the Trocadero. This is a free viewpoint and it's actually only about a 10-minute walk from the Eiffel Tower. When you exit the Eiffel Tower, just head towards the river and then just straight across the bridge with the Olympic rings on it, and you'll see the Trocadero just up ahead. We weren't aware of that many scammers when we were in Paris. However, on this walk between the tower and the Trocadero, we did come across the group with the infamous ball hidden under the 3 cups. And you'll just see them just on the right here. This is the whole sort of gang that surrounds this scam. They're all participating in it, so just be aware and don't get sucked into it, don't get involved, and just keep walking past. We just found this area quite a nice area. As you saw as I was walking towards the Trocadero, there's sort of a grass area, there's benches, etc. Just a nice area if you don't want to sit in the steps. If it's a nice day, just have some food, just enjoy the view that you're about to see in a minute as you look back towards the Eiffel Tower. Next on my list is another famous landmark, and it's a visit to the Arc de Triomphe. Quite a few different ticket options for the Arc de Triomphe. Here you can see the website, and it does give you lots of clear information here. Just click on the visiting activities, and then we're just going to select the option that we took, which was a self-guided tour, but you can also have a lecture tour, and also there's tickets for a family visit. When we visited, yes, it was very busy, this venue. I would say second in terms of how busy it was after the Eiffel Tower. So here we can, again, there's different options. You can just visit the monument, and also there's different ticket prices depending when you visit. Also note there are restrictions in terms of how big a bag you can take in, and similar to a lot of the tourist spots in Paris, there's a standard sort of bag search as well before you get access to the monument. So we're just going to go through, just going to pick just a visit to the monument. Then you're going to select the type of ticket you want. So I'm just going to select the 1 adult ticket. Then it's going to simply be selecting a date and selecting a time. Under 18s, free admission, as do EU nationals and residents of France 18 to 25. There's also discount for disabled visitors as well. So make sure you check out the various ticket options when you're on the website. We hadn't pre-booked tickets for this one, so you can see here they sort of try to show the line. There is a fast lane, obviously, if you have your tickets already. I would say we're about 15 minutes, so the line does move relatively fast. However, you'll see in a minute that when you get passed through and you get your tickets, the line for the security bag check does take a bit longer. Here you can see the sort of bag size checker. I have to say nobody was checking any bags for size. As you'll quickly discover in Paris, when you visit, it is a very popular destination, and a lot of the monuments and the popular places to visit are very busy. So I've just tried to highlight the sort of line that snakes around the corner here, and it took us about 30 minutes to get to the cabin which you see straight ahead, which is the sort of bag security check. In terms of access, there are, I think, 284 stairs to the top of the monument. There is an elevator. It's normally reserved for those with mobility issues, and you can't really use the stairs. However, anyone can use it if they choose to do so. When you sort of arrive at the first level, you can find an area where you can sort of scan and download a guide sheet, or you can actually get a hard copy in various different languages. They have a level where you will find toilets and also lots of information in terms of the history of the monument. So you don't have to go right to the terrace immediately. You can stop off here and you can have a look around and then make your way up to the terrace. But once you do reach the top, you do get some very good views. A thing you'll notice here is there are ramps around the sort of the terrace area. So for those that have reduced mobility, it's just that bit easier for you to get up onto this sort of final sort of little platform, which allows you to have a good view of the city. It's amazing when you visit some of these viewpoints that everyone seems to quickly try and spot the Eiffel Tower, and it does obviously stand out. It is quite iconic. Similar to the Eiffel Tower, they do have guides on the terrace just to sort of help point key sort of buildings and what you might be looking at depending at the side of the monument you're viewing from. And finally, they have the obligatory on-site souvenir shop, so if you want to pick up a souvenir to remind you of your visit to the Arc de Triomphe. The Arc de Triomphe is 219 years old. Our next place we visited is a little bit newer. It's only 140 years old, and it's Sacré-Cœur. This one is free to enter, and it's open every day of the year from 6:30 a.m. until 10:30 p.m. A few things you can do here. You can just go to the viewpoint, which we'll see in a minute. You can take a model train trip around the sort of local streets of Montmartre, which passes by famous landmarks such as Moulin Rouge. You'll see that also. And you can also go inside the Basilica. We didn't have time to go inside the Basilica, and I think from memory the line was about 1 hour wait to get inside the Basilica. Arrived on a weekday about 10 a.m. and I just wanted to highlight here, you can see the people literally just flooding in here. It's obviously a free attraction, very popular, and lots of tours. That's one thing we noticed here, lots of tours. You can see one here, they always carry their flags, their umbrellas, whatever, to identify the tour leader. So quite a busy one, and it did get much busier between 10 and sort of midday 1 p.m. that we were there. So try and get there as early as you can. Bear in mind it does open at 6:30 a.m. if you're a morning person. So you can take the steps up to the sort of Basilica and the sort of the higher sort of viewing point. Here you can see the stairs here, quite busy, quite a lot of them. Or alternatively, you can take the small sort of funicular railway, which is if you just walk from this point, just walk from the main entrance, just go slightly left, and then you'll find the entrance to the funicular. Just to note, we had the sort of weekly Navigo pass that we bought for the metro, the buses, etc. And if you have the Navigo pass, you also get access to the funicular instead of having to pay for a ticket. And like most tourist attractions, if you've already prepaid for your ticket, yeah, you can skip the line. So here you can see it's a very short funicular journey, but it just means if your legs are a bit tired after sort of walking around Paris, then you can just take this short sort of 5-minute journey, and it takes you up to the top of the steps, and as we'll see in a minute, the sort of main viewing area. So for this one, you can see basically you're just at a sort of high point in the city, and it does give you, you know, a nice view of the city. For us, I would say it was due to what you can see here, just very, very busy, this one. And it did kind of spoil it a wee bit for us because it was just too busy, and it just seemed to get busier and busier as time went on. We wanted to grab some food, and here I just wanted to show just how busy it is in the streets surrounding the Sacré-Cœur. You know, the nearby streets are very, very busy as well. As I mentioned, we took this short sort of model train journey around the surrounding streets, and yeah, I would say we quite liked it. Initially it started off, we thought, wow, okay, this is just taking us around some random streets, and then it did start picking up some of the more, you know, famous parts. Certainly here you can see Moulin Rouge. So yeah, we thought it was value for money, and yeah, it just gave you a sort of overview of the Montmartre sort of area. The train trip lasts around 30 minutes and costs €12 per adult. Here I've just tried to highlight the sort of line you can just about make out in the distance there. Like I said, I think it was roughly about an hour's wait for this line to get into the Basilica. One thing, a lot of people milling around here, and I would imagine where you have lots of tourists, you can sometimes get lots of pickpockets. So please be aware of your surroundings and your belongings at all times when you visit this one. Now for something completely different, we have a visit to the Montparnasse observation deck, which is on the 56th floor of this rather unassuming apartment building. This is the website we use for booking our tickets. Tickets are €25 on the day, or €21 if you book in advance. This is for the standard ticket. You can of course add things like champagne at the top, or if you want a daytime and a nighttime visit to come back for the sunset, you can see the prices here. Opening times, all year this venue opens at 9:30 AM. Over the winter it closes at 10:30, and over the summer it closes at 11:30 PM. As you'll see, every ticket gets you access to the observation deck on the 56th floor. They also have a rooftop terrace on the 59th floor. Just bear in mind, if you do want to visit the rooftop terrace, that's only accessible by foot. So the elevator only goes to the 56th floor, it doesn't go to the 59th. You can also buy tickets such as a visit to the observation deck and also a boat trip on this end. So lots of different options depending what you fancy doing. One final thing before we look at the observation deck, you do have to pre-book the time you want to arrive. However, we arrived 30 minutes early, and the person on the door did say that they do allow people in a maximum of 30 minutes early. So if you do arrive a wee bit early, just bear in mind, if you're within 30 minutes, then you should let you in. After the standard sort of security bag check, it's in a short elevator ride up to the 56th floor observation deck. The weather on the day we visited wasn't the best. However, it was relatively clear, so we did at least no sunshine, but we did get a nice, you know, view over the city of Paris. As you move around the observation deck, they do have these signs at different parts of the building just to show you, you know, what are the sort of key things you're looking at if you're looking at that particular side of the building. There's this small sort of mini theatre area where you can sit down and you can watch a sort of short time travel video, and shows the history of the building being built, etc. There's also a gift shop, and there's also lots of information on the walls around the observation deck relating to the history of the building and also the history of Paris. We were a little tight for time, so we decided not to visit the rooftop terrace. And last but not least is a visit to the rooftop terrace on the Galeries Lafayette building. This one again is free, and it's, as you can see, it's a fully functioning department store. It's on 7 levels, and the top level, level 7, is where you'll find the rooftop terrace. So just you make your way in on the ground floor, you'll find the escalator, and then just head up the escalator to the top floor, like I say, and you'll pop out at the rooftop terrace. We liked this one. We thought it was just something a bit different, a bit unusual, just in the sort of middle of the city. And then you just have a rooftop terrace and yeah, quite a nice area just to hang out. It wasn't great weather when we were there, a wee bit chilly, but I'd imagine a nice sort of summer's day, quite a nice a little sun trap. And just something, like I said, a bit unusual to just have on the top of a department store. Obviously, managed to catch the Eiffel Tower in the distance there. This wasn't as busy as we thought it might be, especially being free. Our feeling was possibly less well known, this one, obviously versus very popular viewpoints that you can see in the distance there. So definitely worth adding to your list of viewpoints. Something I definitely haven't seen in a department store before is this, what they call is the glass walk, which is a 9 meter long sort of gangway where you can walk out to the end, and you can obviously get your friend, family to take some pretty cool pictures of you with the backdrop of the department store. This one you do have to book in advance. I think every Friday they release the slots for the following week, and you have to book a day, and then you can book your 10-minute slot when you want to arrive. So make sure if you want to do this, you must pre-book. It's free to do. I really do hope you've enjoyed this video, found some information useful. If you have, please consider hitting a thumbs up and like the video. Also consider subscribing to my channel. I will be uploading much more travel related content with some useful information. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.